First of all, thank both of you ladies for, taking the time to get on the call this afternoon. We know it was Sunday, but this was the best time for us to be able to get you all together. And just a little background about us. My name is Pam Port, and from Speak Up and Vote. And this is...
I'm Sherry Williams from Speak Up and Vote.
And what we did was we created a voter registration campaign along with others, because we thought that it was imperative that people get out and vote in this election, not just for the presidential election, but from the top to the bottom of the ticket. And a lot of times we were out there, we call it a campaign trail, but it was basically just registering people to vote. One of the biggest complaints was that they didn't know who the people were that was on the ticket. And I believe that every office there's a purpose for every office, in Joliet, in the state of Illinois. So if you're running, that means that that's a service of some sort, for us as citizens. So we decided to have you all on to talk about, the Recorder of Deeds position. Now, Karen, I know that, you are currently the Recorder of Deeds. So I want to give each of you all a minute to introduce yourselves, and then we'll jump right into this, okay? And we'll start with Ms. Stucco.
Hi, I'm Karen Stucco, and I am the Will County Recorder. I was first elected in 2008, so I just am finishing my third term. I am a lifelong resident of Will County. I grew up in Joliet, and I currently reside in Shanahan with my son and my baby puppies. And I'm a grandmother of two that I'm so proud of. Do you want me to go into more than that, or just?
No, that's fine. That's a good for intro, and then we'll get to Gretchen. Can you unmute? There you go.
Thank you. My name is Gretchen Fritz. I am currently serving on the Will County Board for District 5, which is Plainfield, Naperville, and Aurora. Mm-hmm. And I have a Master's of Library Science degree, and I'm looking forward to the talk today.
Wonderful. All right, so let's jump right into it. So first of all, Karen, since you're currently the Recorder of Deeds, can you just sort of give us what the primary functions of the office is in like a minute or two?
We are the official land record keeper of all land-owned property in Will County. We also, we're the repository for also DD-214s, which are the military discharge papers. And with that, they also have, we also record liens, mortgages. We get through the state of the circuit clerk's office, the state of Illinois, and we, like I said, we hold all land record property so that it's always trackable, and it shows proof of ownership, just basic terms.
Wonderful. And so why is the office important?
The office is important just because of the fact that if you do not have a Recorder of Deeds office that shows the ownership of land, then anybody could go ahead and squat and be on someone's property and claim ownership. So that's the importance of the office.
Wonderful. Okay, so Gretchen, if you could just sort of share with us, what's your, why did you want to run to actually unseat Karen?
The reason for me running for this is that there is a void of leadership in that office. The recorder should be showing up to work, should be giving guidance and leadership to her employees, and she also has executed multiple no contracts over her nearly 12 years in office. Most people on both sides of the aisle don't think that no bid contracts are ethical, are scrupulous. Most people want to see a bidding process that encourages competition, that encourages getting the best price and getting the best value and the best service. And so if you don't have that process, you generally overpay, and it's not good government. And so I would like to see those type of things come to an end. And I would like to see the budget shrink rather than expand.
Okay, how would you change that if you were elected?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
How would you change that? If you were elected, how would you make that happen? What would you do in order to make that happen?
As I said, there would be a bidding process for large spending for anything. You know, in the Forest Preserve District, we have a rule that it's over $20,000. Anything over $20,000, you go into a bidding process to find the best vendor at the best price. The county board also follows the same procedure. So it would be a similar thing. The other thing that we have in the county that Ms. Stuckel never took advantage of is we have an IT committee. We have an ad hoc IT committee that searches for software products, searches for computer products, and they bring in the stakeholders who are experts, who have expertise in those areas, who have an interest in the inner workings of the software, and they help determine, okay, this is the software we're going to choose. Now let's go into a bidding process and figure out who to buy it from. So these are the resources that I would use that she did not use when she executed these contracts for. We're talking. Not talking about small amounts of money.
Okay, thank you. Karen, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I would.
About a minute.
As far as the ad hoc committee, we do work with Jason over in the ICT department because we do use them for our office. So we do use them. So it's not that I've never utilized it. She's just not aware of it. And as far as the no bid contract, if you read the Illinois state statute for recorders, it does not state that we have to go out for a bid. My predecessor, Lori McPhillips, she did do an RFP for the system that I replaced, and she did go with the cheapest system. But when you go with the cheapest system, you also end up paying. Like when I had to do the redacting of all social security numbers, they wanted almost $350,000 extra for them to do it. For them to connect with the state of Illinois was going to be like $75,000. So yeah, you might get something cheaper at the beginning, but you are going to pay for it over and over every time something needs to be done. I ended up going with Fiddler Technologies. She's saying 2 contracts. I did go with Aptitude Solutions, and that was not anything on my fault because they could not get the product to work correctly with all our information. So I got out of that contract and I ended up with Fiddler Technologies. And Fiddler Technologies is in over 63 of the 102 counties of the state of Illinois. So they are very much involved in our recording system. And with that, we also, they are partnered with the state of Illinois. So when we had to do electronic recording, when we had to do electronic MyDeck, when we had to do e-signatures and all that, Fiddler was on board. And that when we had, if it's a state mandate and we have to do something with the state, it is all included in the price of my contract. So my redaction was all included in all that. So it didn't cost anything. It would have cost me almost $600,000 more to keep the original system that we had, which I have to say, the first 4 years I had it, we had nothing but problems with it. So, and I actually have all the sheets that the whole office worked, like they had 4 companies in, and I have all their evaluations of each company. DTS is the one I replaced. And honestly, when you look at the sheets, which I'll be more than happy to share with anybody, it got the worst ratings. Like not one person in the office said it was a user-friendly system, but it was the cheapest at the moment, but it didn't pay.
Gotcha. Okay, Grace, you want to respond real quickly?
Yeah, so she said she worked with the previous system for 4 years, but that's untrue because the first contract that she executed, she was elected in 2008, which would have been sworn in December of 2008, and she executed that first contract in 2010. So she worked with that product for less than 2 years when she replaced it. So
I never went live with it. I never used that system, so I didn't.
You just said you used it for 4 years and you had nothing but problems.
I used DTS, the one Lori McPhillips purchased. I never used the first contract that I executed. They ended up.
Yes, that is true actually, and you still spent $100,000, even though you never used it.
Mm.
I'm sorry, I can't disclose anything because I'm under an order by the judge that I can't talk about that. And you wouldn't have any idea about that because it's not disclosable.
Right, why is there a judge involved? That seems a little fishy.
So I could sue them.
Mm.
So
Well, Gretchen,
my
go ahead.
question,
Go ahead.
my
Go ahead, Chair.
question is, this has cost an excessive amount of money? And this is for Ms. Friss, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And how much money are you talking about? And is this something that you've done? This is a personal, experience of yours, or you just go through the county recorder's records as a matter of course?
No, actually, this research was done by the woman who ran against Karen in 2016. And she did work there. She worked in that office for many years. And yeah, so the first no bid contract was for $430,000 to Aptitude Solutions. The system was never operational, as Ms. Stuckel admitted. We paid out $360,000 of that $430,000. Since they could never make the system work, they did return some of the money, but the initial install, the training, money spent for equipment, and lawyers' fees was about $100,000.
There were no
So-
lawyer fees.
Just
There
as
were
a
no
follow-up,
fees 'cause I
there's
used
no
to-
guarantee that had
Okay,
she.
I didn't interrupt you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
No,
she's talking
I'm
to Karen.
talking to
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Are you, because I don't want to step on any toes. Were you done with your thought?
Yes, I'm.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
my question is then there's no guarantee if you put it out for bid that the same thing won't happen, right?
Correct.
So is there, and I don't know anything about bidding and all this stuff. So I'm just questioning whether when you do bid out, or if you just, I don't even know how you would determine otherwise if you didn't go out for bid, how do you decide? But if you do, then do you guarantee that if they don't work, that the money is restored?
Correct. What it is when you go out for bid, it's a formal bid where other companies can come in. I went to the 4 companies that are used in the state of Illinois, and I had them come into the office and do a demonstration and had our girls look at them. And with Fiddler Technologies being in so many counties because they are the newest, with the newest version of everything that they have, that is why I went with them after. Because actually before, when I went with Aptitude, Fiddler had just went live with Avid, but they had a lot of work to do on it, and it didn't look like it was going to happen. So years later, after they perfected it, is when I went with Aptitude or Fiddler Technologies.
Okay. Well, Gretchen, let me just ask you this, and this is just in layman's terms for the people, for the constituents out there. What does all of this have to do with just the regular citizens? Just, walk us through that in like a minute or two. Because,
Sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's most important. What does that mean for us?
Right, yes. There's 2 things. There's 2 ways that the citizens pay for these type of mistakes. So the first is that her budget had to be expanded to pay for this. So when the county board that I'm on now, we approve a budget for any given year, and then we don't micromanage. We let that department and that department head spend the money in whatever way they see fit. But then the next year, if they have a shortfall, they're going to ask for more money. And this happens year after year after year. So this increases the burden on the taxpayers because this is not the only department. This happens in every single department. So you multiply you add this to the sheriff's department, the auditor's department, the treasurer's department, the coroner's department, the circuit clerk. You add all these departments together with their expanding budgets, and there's an impact to the taxpayers, which is we have to raise taxes to pay for
Gotcha.
all of this. Okay,
Thank you.
so that is the compounding factor. And then the other thing is that in 2014, because she knew the Fiddler product was so much more expensive, she raised the recording fees to compensate for that. So that's the other way that the people pay. Now people who transfer a property, whether it's buying or selling, they pay a higher recording fee because of this.
Thank you. And then you mentioned one other thing I just wanted to get clarity on. You said that her leadership. So can you give us a little, just a brief synopsis of what did you mean by that when you said that you questioned the leadership of the office?
Yes. There are people in her office who have confided in me and said that she rarely shows up for work, and that when she does show up for work, she often brings her dogs, which I consider to be unprofessional, and they say it's disruptive to what they're trying to accomplish. You know, she's supposed to be, she and her staff are supposed to be serving the public who come in to have services, to receive services. And, you know, how can you do that with dogs running around barking? That's inappropriate. I also think that the fact that they have so much obsolete technology in their office also shows a lack of leadership to get that converted to more modern technology. They still use microfiche, and they still use archival books, which again, I have a library science degree. They taught us that paper breaks down over time, and whenever possible, you want to protect those archival books. Don't let people touch them. Don't turn the pages, because eventually they get brittle, they break, and then they become unreadable. So all of that information should be digitized so that it can be accessed digitally, first of all. It's more efficient, and for preservation purposes. Those archival books should be protected and kept for archival purposes, not for everyday use.
Thank you. Karen, would you like to respond? You got about 1.5 minutes on that.
Okay, really quick on the dogs. They've been in the office 4 times in 12 years. And actually, one is only 2 years old, so I don't know how that's possible, and they don't run around and they don't bark. They come in my office and they sit there. And what everyone doesn't understand is anytime somebody has gotten a puppy or something, they brought it in. It's a good morale booster. That's what we do. I don't let my dogs run around the office. They come in and they sit in my office, and usually it's because they've had a vet appointment and I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
As far as me not being there, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Gretchen, but you can work from home nowadays, and I've utilized that. And with working in the county for roughly 18 years, I'm entitled to over 5 weeks vacation if I wanted it, which I don't ever take. So yeah, I might use some sick days. I might use 4 or 5 weeks of my vacation, which I'm entitled to, but I also work from home when I'm not there. So I'm not sure if the people there know what I can do at home, but I know where I'm at, and I know that I'm a full-time recorder, and that's what I ran on, and that's what I'm going to do, and I will continue to do that. As far as the whole back archiving and digitizing, we are in a process of working on that right now. When I took office in 2008, so basically 2009, Lori McPhillips had used Chicago Title for her back imaging thing, and they were not good images. The images did not match the data entry. They weren't, when they put them together, they weren't right. So we had to pull all images. So we are in the process of having all back to 65 again, rescanned, and which is costing everyone more money, but it's not the taxpayers, and Gretchen's wrong about that also. It's not costing taxpayers anything. We have 3 automation accounts that we use in our office, and that is what is used to automate the office. And if you actually go back through my county, my corporate budget, you will see that I come in under budget every year. I've never had to go back and ask for more money from them. I did have to have money appropriated through my automation account for my new system, but that's it. I've never gone to county board and asked for more money. And as far as me going back and raising my fees, it was when GIS also raised their fees, and we had a cost study done, and that is what caused the increase in our fees. And if you actually go back 2 years ago, when the state of Illinois went with a predictable fee, we also had to redo it again, but that's because it was a state mandate also. So that's why it got raised again. But the first time was strictly because GIS was looking to have their fees raised, and we do collect for GIS. So, I mean, I can't help it if they went up $9, and we had to charge it because that's what our job is to do. So as far as like me saying, oh, the taxpayers are costing them money, it's not costing the taxpayers anything.
Okay.
It's all paid through automation. And like I said, if you look at my corporate account, it has gone up. That's because of the step increases for all the union employees and everything.
Thank
I
you.
didn't say the digitization was costing extra money. I said the budget and the increased fees was hitting the taxpayer twice. I didn't say anything about the project.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you.
well, let me have a follow-up to what you just
Yes.
said, Gretchen. So does that mean that if you were in office, you wouldn't increase any fees?
I would look for every solution before I would raise the fees. Yes, I would look at every other possible solution first.
But if there was no possible solution, then you would raise the fees?
Sometimes things have to happen, but again, I would exhaust every other possibility.
Also, you said that their antiquated system, and we criticized her for not picking the right people to upgrade the system. So if the system is antiquated and you won the election, how would you then digitize or improve the system without raising your budget or increasing any fees?
Well, we're actually talking about two different things here.
Okay, well, break it down for me.
The obsolete part that I'm talking about is the archival books and the
Okay,
microfilm. Okay, that's what I'm talking about
okay.
when I'm talking about the obsolete technology. The other thing is I have heard from township assessors saying that the software that is currently in place is not very good. It's not user friendly for them. The township assessors are one of the main users of the system, and so there, when I talked about the ad hoc IT committee, that's what I'm talking about. I would have stakeholders like the township assessors, the realtors, people who use who need to use the software. Those would be the people who would be on the committee making sure that it would work. So yeah, I would absolutely make sure that any software that was purchased was bidded out. So you determine what is the software that you want, then you determine who you're going to buy it from, okay? Because usually they're not only sold by one company. And then you negotiate a contract and make sure that it's within your budget. Now, if it wasn't within my first year's budget, because that is set by the previous recorder, if it wasn't within the first year's budget, then I would wait until we could move the budget, move the numbers around to make it work. But yeah, I'm dedicated to not increasing my budget and not increasing fees.
Wonderful. Okay, in closing, ladies, in just 1 second, Karen. In closing, if you can just share with the constituents why they should vote for you, and then then provide your contact information. So we'll go ahead with you, Gretchen, since you were the last one speaking, and then we'll end with you, Karen. Okay, you got about 1 minute apiece. Okay.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for setting this up and for having us. I think that I'm the better choice. As I said, I have the education. I have the Master's of Library Science, which is completely relevant to records management. I have the knowledge of the archives from that, and the processes that should be done. I understand the concepts of how you manage data. And I'm committed to not raising fees, not raising taxes, not raising budgets. I have heard that the staff there does a wonderful job. I've not heard a single complaint about the staff. So that is something that would not change, except that I would treat my staff with more respect, and I would not call full-grown women girls. And so my name is Gretchen Fritz. You can contact me. My website is willcountyneedsanewrecorder.com. And I also have a Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram, also on Twitter. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Karen, 1.5 minutes.
Okay. I would ask that you support myself. Like I said, I've got 12 years experience. I am the second vice chair of the Illinois Association of County Clerk and Recorders. I'm on the legislative committee. I'm on the special actions committee. I'm on the electronic recording commission, which has brought electronic recording in, which has gone from 14 days of a return time of a document down to literally a minute. So you cannot make this office any more efficient than you already have with that.
Mhm.
I'm also, I belong to PRIA, which is Property Records Industry Association, so that anything that's going on anywhere in the United States, we all work together and see what could come to Illinois. I'm also on the International Association of Government Officials, so anything that's happening in other counties, I would also be well aware of. I've also, because I've been also told that I'm getting complacent. You have to stay involved in all of these associations. And by doing so, in 2 years, I will be the president of the IACCR. So that means it'll be my job to bring in speakers and to keep everybody updated, which I also work on as the second vice chair. So
Okay.
I believe that my experience and my dedication to this office is what will take me in the next 4 years. So I appreciate your vote. And you can contact me at kstukel, STUKEL 30@gmail.com. And you can also contact me on my cell, 815-353-2816. I have a Facebook page, and I look forward to November 3rd and seeing what the voters ask for.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, ladies, both.
Thank you
for
so much.
taking the time out again. Sure. Sherry, any closing words?
We appreciate you guys taking time to talk to us, because we're trying to make people more aware and informed as voters. So I think this is very good. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful evening, ladies.
You too. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.